Nathan Newman asks, how as a club have we been impacted by the coronavirus?
I think like all organisations, length and breadth of the country and globally, it's been an incredibly challenging period. You know, effectively we've had to wrap the organisation up in cotton wool for 4 months. We took some very decisive actions as the pandemic broke. We sat down with our players and we agreed a salary deferral with them. And clearly, as with all football clubs, your single biggest outlay is player wages. So that was an incredibly important piece of work to get done. And they were hugely supportive. I think one of our strengths as a strength of our football club through the pandemic has been that we're not that reliant on our match day revenue compared with so many other football clubs. So, you know, when games aren't being played and the revenue's not flowing from ticketing and merchandising and catering, for other clubs that has a much greater impact than for our football club. But clearly that's something that we need to turn around moving into our new stadium. In addition, we have to be so incredibly grateful to the fans for the way they've gone about supporting the club through the pandemic. You know, clearly we had to go into a phase of talking to all of our supporters, both season ticket holders and match ticket purchases, around refunds, credits and donations. The support that we've had from the fan base has been outstanding. I think it's over 80% of our season ticket holders didn't ask for any refund, and I think that's testament to the togetherness throughout the club.
This one's from Neil Goddard. Where will the Hall of Fame and club history boards be displayed once we've left Griffin Park?
I think they're probably referring to the Hall of Fame boards down in the Braemar Road paddock. We will certainly replicate those Hall of Fame boards and take them into the new stadium. Whether it's the light-for-light ones, we're not certain yet. I think they're looking a little bit tired, and we'll probably produce some new ones, which will be bespoke for the new stadium.
Mark Bonner asks, can I buy my seat and other Griffin Park memorabilia at the end of the season?
Yes, you will be able to. We're working with a company called Hilco to produce an auction website, so all the fans can look at certain bits of memorabilia around the stadium. The actual seats we have a problem with, I'm afraid, similar to Arsenal had when they left their stadium, and there's a very small chemical content in the seats that if you keep them indoors, the chemical content level goes up. I'm no chemistry genius, but that will prohibit us from actually selling those seats. But there are, you know, stacks of other memorabilia throughout the stadium. I think I've got earmarked one for myself, which is I always find quite ironic at a football stadium that we have in the Braemar Road enclosure a sign that says no ball games. So I want to keep that one for myself.
This was a popular question, as you'd expect. What's the possibility of one last chance for the fans to visit Griffin Park, and when does Griffin Park transfer to the developers?
I think we've been on record a number of times to say that we will do everything in our power to ensure that our fans get the opportunity to say farewell to Griffin Park. Clearly that has to be in accordance with government guidelines. You know, in terms of mass gatherings, still prohibited, but we will do everything in our power. And in terms of when the stadium goes over to the developer, that moves over to them when we get the new stadium.
So another popular question, will we need to stage test events before moving into the new stadium, even if our opening games are played behind closed doors?
100% we will be testing all of the systems within the new stadium. We've been obviously working very closely with the local authority safety advisory group regarding the testing process. Clearly we're in a situation that COVID has presented where again mass gatherings aren't possible, so the traditional way of testing a stadium will be challenging. But as I said, we've got a great relationship through our operations team with the local authority, so we're very confident that we can robustly test all of our systems.
And how do the club intend on integrating Brentford's history and heritage into the new stadium?
Well, I think the club first and foremost will have first dabs on all of the items that are currently in Griffin Park. So we're looking at ways to incorporate a lot of that memorabilia, if you like, into the new stadium. But 100% we want to stamp our identity on the new venue. That's hugely important to the football club. We know it's really important to the fans. We've talked about things like the famous trotter crossbar being moved into the west stand to sit above the bar area. We're looking at ways to use the old turnstiles within the new stadium. So we're very, very keen to take some of our past into our future.
Is anything being done with regards to matchday parking at the new stadium? Are you talking to local businesses about using their car parks on match days, for example?
Absolutely, and the local businesses have been really supportive. We appointed a company called EST who have been helping us with looking at the local environment, looking at local businesses that we can implement car parking services with. And we're a long way down the road, and we'll be in good shape for when the stadium opens.
In the past, it was mentioned that the club were looking at a park and ride option. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, we haven't ruled that out at all. Clearly, what we'd prefer to do is secure car parking, in the immediate vicinity of the stadium. But if that isn't an option, then park and ride is available.
Kevin Hennessy and Don Tanswell ask, are you planning for measures and processes if the new stadium is allowed to operate at a reduced capacity from next season?
Absolutely we are. We've started that process, and the team that worked on the strategy around donations, credits and refunds are also now shifting their emphasis and their focus into looking at should we be behind or in a reduced capacity, then how do we look after and how do we service all those season ticket holders that are bought for the new stadium? Clearly, we haven't been given any guidance yet in terms of what reduced capacities could look like, if at all. But yes, it's absolutely something we're working through.
Can the new stadium be developed further should there be demand for that in the future?
No, we are small but perfectly formed. We are the size that we will move into the stadium is the size of the stadium for the future. So we're very comfortable with the size and the capacity of the stadium. We're absolutely delighted with the facilities. I was on site last week and it looks amazing. The GA areas are second to none. The technology within the stadium is outstanding. So we're very, very proud of what we've built, and we think it will be a fantastic venue for Brentford and for other activities that we host there over the coming years.
How many season tickets have been sold for the 2020-21 campaign?
I'm delighted to say we're through 10,000 now, currently sitting on a season ticket base of just over 6,400 at Griffin Park, so a significant uplift for the new stadium, and we're still selling through. So GA is general admittance is flying through, as are the premium lounges.
This one's from John Hannon. Is there any likelihood of Brentford season ticket holders getting a discounted rate for London Irish tickets and vice versa?
We've had that discussion with London Irish. It's not something we've implemented. We think that they are quite two distinct audiences, but it's not to say we wouldn't look to do something in the future. First and foremost, our number one priority was to make sure that all of our season ticket holders at Griffin Park got the transition into the new stadium, that we got the right people into the right places within the new venue. So, but who's to say what we might decide to do in the future? Let's wait and see.
What, if any, improvements have been made to the ticketing system, and where will supporters be able to go to buy tickets face-to-face from next season onwards?
We have improved the ticket system. I think it's fair to say the challenges with the system were well documented in its early years, but it's definitely improved. It's a system that really helped us with the migration into the new stadium. and the feedback with the migration has been, outstanding from the fans. I think everyone's got a really good, personal service when it came to moving into the new venue. Will we keep improving it? Absolutely we will. And it's not just about the ticketing system, it's all about the venue access system that we've incorporated into the new stadium. There will be mobile ticketing options for people. Clearly in this day and age, we want to move as many people onto online transactions as possible, but there will be facilities for people to buy face-to-face.
Neil Goddard asks, do we know the kick-off dates yet for the 2020-21 Premier League and Championship season?
We haven't been given absolute clarity, but it's far more likely to be in September than it is August.
This one's from Jay Landsgroner. As a new fan stateside, do you plan on making a summer stop in the USA at some point in the future?
Well, it certainly won't be this summer. I think the time between the end of this season and the beginning of next will certainly not allow us to do any stateside visits. But as we look to grow the brand of Brentford around the world, absolutely we will look to move to different markets, and that's always an option for us.
Another popular question, when will next season's kits be released?
As we said earlier, there's still so much uncertainty what league you're in. When will the season start? Clearly what league you're in has an impact on the brand that you put onto the front of the shirt because of the affordability levels. So let's wait and see where we end this season. But certainly we'll be looking to get the new kits out ahead of the start of the 2021 season.
What are the club's aims for next season and beyond, both on and off the pitch?
I think from an on-field perspective, it's continuing to grow, creating stability, and for an off-field, 100% our immediate focus is moving into that new stadium, making it our home, making it a fortress, and giving fans an outstanding matchday experience.
Lewis Adriano asks, what is the club doing to help people of colour get a foot on the coaching/management ladder?
I think everybody's aware how important the quality is to Brentford Football Club through our Be Together campaign that we're running at the moment. But from a playing perspective, we're 100% supportive of the EFL's initiative. We've signed up to the BAME placement scheme, and we're looking forward to working with them to ensure that we can have more equality across both the terraces and in the playing departments of football.
This one's from Simon Hoyle. He asks, on an away day, what is your favourite flavoured pie to eat at half-time?
Oh, interesting question. I said the place for the best pies is Blackburn Rovers, meat and potato. But I have to say, the pies that are served at Brentford in the boardroom are also outstanding.
This one's from Ross Nunn. Will Brentford ever participate in a documentary similar to the Sunderland Till I Die or All or Nothing series?
Never say never, but I think it is unlikely. I think obviously with Man City doing it, Leeds United doing it, Sunderland doing it, it's hard to keep that fresh, but never say never.
How do you incorporate Brentford fans' emotion and love for the club whilst working in a business environment?
It is challenging. I think come 3 o'clock on a Saturday, you can be a fan, but I think during the week we're very focused on the tasks that we need to achieve. I'm incredibly fortunate that I've got a very supportive owner and a very supportive board. We've got very clear objectives. We've got very clear strategies how we want to reach those objectives. So, I think from a business perspective, I can stay very focused on that. But as I said, come 3 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm still very much a fan.